I'm Mike Suri, CEO at FundingShield. Some of you guys I know, many others I might not know. We've got a short period of time, and we've got our great partners and integrated solutions to talk about as well. I'll start off with a quick introduction. I'm joined here with our president, Adam Chaudhry, my partner. We are I'll talk in hashtags so it'll be easier to catch up on time. We are a fintech, we are a mortgage tech, we are a cybersecurity company. We're in the business of optimizing and ensuring the two most important things in industry today that every client wants to see happen, and regulatory bodies especially. One is to cut down time, cut down inefficiencies, and the second is to prevent fraud, being that it's a digital economy, being that the mortgage industry and the real estate industry has a complicated landscape, and how do you go through that journey touching data so many times, the vulnerable endpoints, the new scams, the new schemes when it comes to cybersecurity, business email compromise, breaches every week that we see. How do you manage this kind of an environment where an industry is already challenged with so many different aspects of housing, interest rates, and so forth? So having said that, there are some stats we'd like to share. We're joined here. Well, one of the other things I can point out is we're going to talk about our solutions that cover where the journey begins with the consumers. If a consumer buying a house with a lifetime savings, their down payment is hijacked in this market, does not make it, and gets into the hands where it can never be returned, there is no recourse for that money to come back. And without that necessary equity, originators, lenders, and everybody else involved in this industry has already spent time, energy, money of up to $14,000 on origination to get there, to find out they're only standing alone at the altar, right? So our embedded solutions with certain partners, CoreLogic, will highlight that. And then, of course, there's a journey beyond that where that data and elements go into closing, and closing is another way, another place where there's so many different vulnerable endpoints. We'll talk about those. And our partnership with Citus AMC highlights that. These are the two behemoths in the industry, both names. So we're very, very lucky to have them as partners with strategic solutions that the industry's been asking for. And we've been taking pulse on the pain points to be able to deliver something that's meaningful. We have found some relevance in a market like this where it's been quite challenging for everybody. To cut down costs is very important, but at the same time, you have to energize and optimize your defense, not your risk. It's that balance we're going to talk about, how to handle it. How about you, Adam? I'll give it to you.
So the journey here today with our partners is a result of combined efforts on tech teams, product teams, but really kind of the common thread in terms of mindset and delivering solutions is applying technology and solutions and empowering them in the hands of decision makers. So automation has to be in the hands of decision makers at critical points in the actual mortgage fulfillment process. For us, we have a focus on payments. I always say that in a typical contract, there is consideration, right? Money for goods delivered or services rendered. The mortgage process, there's multiple payments that come in over the course of multitude points of time and then are dispersed to multitudes of parties at multiple points of time, but typically around disbursement and kind of closing. So there are additional challenges that are faced in our industry that are unique to how we actually originate and close mortgages. And that's why these partnerships are important, is working with incumbent players and incumbent systems where consumers conduct tasks, where mortgage IMB banks raise and submit their funding requests to warehouse banks. That's why these partnerships are powerful. And the data behind this is, well, what's the fraud experience? What's the risk? What's the inconsistencies? Well, our Q1 2024 data that FundingShield publishes, it's available on our website. It's published quarterly across our clients. This quarter's data set is based upon a sample data set of about 65 billion in transactions processed. Basically highlighted about 48% of transactions had at least one data element issue wrong between title file data, wiring instructions, licensing and good standing of parties, the existence of the transaction in the title insurer systems at the time of close, meaning there was no corresponding title file order at CTC in 9% of transactions that we uncovered. These are really large numbers of a result of multitudes of systems, disparate communication channels, reliance upon email communication, as well as the fact that there's 2 or 3 different parties, especially in a purchase market, the real estate side, the lender side, and the title side, trying to push the ball forward to the finish line using different systems, different communication methodologies, and numerous endpoints like I shared. So what we have today is elegant, easy solutions can be dropped down, low code, no code, branded to enhance a lender's ability to show that they're aligned in interest to protecting the consumer. So we talk about consumer experience. How do we improve the consumer experience? Well, we believe increasing the trust level in the transaction is a true metric of improving the consumer experience. And that's what the point of this product is to allow the lender to provide a tool to home buyer saying, hey, this footer in my email says wire fraud's a problem, but here's a solution that I even trust for my workflows that I'm making available for you in the context of how you will receive information from title companies, escrow companies, realtors, et cetera, that may or may not be legitimate wire instructions for you to send your down payment to. And then similarly, using the core system for warehouse delivery, funding, execution, the system of record with partners that are building actual API-driven microservice solutions in the warehouse space for banks that historically have had to work off legacy tech stacks. Very difficult to get some of those integrations in, especially for funding processes where they're using very clunky old systems designed to be very rudimentary, binary in terms of how they work, in terms of funding and pushing wires out Fedwire. So we're excited today to have our partners start and kick off. We're going to let them showcase what they've built, talk about the value prop that our partnership brings and why they've delivered these solutions and where it fits in their ecosystem, and we want to give them the floor.
Just before we do that, if you don't mind, we were talking about where sometimes these things come to bite you if you're not proactive in dealing with them. Adam, this morning we had a call from one of the merchant.
Yeah, so one of our clients is under an FDIC audit, warehouse bank. The auditors in their offices this morning, our team gets a call about a situation they're dealing with on a closing agent whose the consumer's down payment got basically hijacked. So now IMB has raised the wire's gone to the escrow company, that money has to get kicked back. FDIC is sitting there looking at this portfolio of books, controls, and measures and spots it, right? It sticks out. What happened here? Oh, closing agent suffered wire fraud at risk and issue. FDIC asked them, well, how did you avoid this? Well, we have a solution. We have a partner that helps verify on the transaction level. What about the consumer? And the answer is, well, it's the IMB's client. We don't have a purview into managing their money movement. And the FDIC says, well, where did that money come from? Did it come from a depository institution bank account? And the answer is yes. So there is a lot of focus on this for covered institutions in the traditional banking context, but from an FFIEC level, there is conversations about how do we protect money movements, just like you guys have dealt with in your personal banking space. All the warnings when you raise a new payee, a new payment. Yeah. So this is happening in real time, and it's becoming a bigger issue in the market, requiring more attention from lenders.
Perfect. Thank you. This was one of the reasons why we made this, because banks asked us to, because there was this hole where no recourse of money was existing. So for that, thank you guys. We'll introduce Steve with CoreLogic.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Steve, thank you.
Thanks so much. I want to make sure we can pull this up on the screen. I think I just need to slide this left. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you in just a minute here our CoreLogic and FundingShield solution that we built together. I'm Steve Kalush. I represent CoreLogic here. I'm part of our solutions consulting team. And the product I represent today is called DMP, Digital Mortgage Platform. Our customers might think of this as like a point of sale. And if any of you haven't seen what we have been building over the last couple of years, I'd really invite you to take a look. Specifically here, we thought about, hey, we have a secure portal to allow borrowers to transact with us, to get the application in, to do disclosures. But our customers have said to us, like you were hearing here today, that wire fraud and all of that is rampant and happening more often than we would like to think. And even as Ike said, one time is too much. So our customers said to us, is there any way that you guys can help us with this, right? I know you're more of a portal for documents, but this is really an issue that we have. And so being CoreLogic, we said, hey, we have tons of partnerships and folks out there in the market. So we work with FundingShield, who has a great line of customers, and said, hey, how can we make a solution work together? And I'm going to show you that very quickly right in here. Very simply, in our application, you're going to go ahead and say get started in here with the loan team. This is our digital mortgage platform on the loan officer side. Again, happy to show you this a little bit further. We fire a task right here connected with FundingShield to the lending team to say, hey, do you want to get the verification done? Send this to your borrower. We have the power of a very strong, almost like Asana-like if this then that workflow tool that says we can drive tasks to a borrower to a lender. In this specific example, we're telling the loan officer, do you want to share this FundingShield task with the borrower? They're going to go ahead and click yes. It's going to kick off this ability for them to send this task over to that borrower in our secure portal so they can go ahead and enter in their details. They're not going to have to go to another place to work with FundingShield or log into another portal, re-e-consent. It's all going to happen right here through our portal, and we're connected to your loan origination system for all of that as well. So as we go through here, the next step in the process, we're going to show you the borrower review. So I was able to go in, send a task to review this into the DMP solution. Now our borrower in here is going to get this task. In our portal, this is branded for CoreLogic. This would be branded to the lending organization for you and all of your information here. On the far left over here, you can see we have the loan officer. You can also add the realtor here. We have a portal for realtors. We get the Plays Well with Others award. We want to make this central to the borrower. So what does this all mean? Here, the borrower can easily communicate with you, the lender, and get this task immediately right here on the screen to go ahead and put in their wire information. Again, this can be branded specifically to the realtor, to the lender, however you would like this, and that's one of the great things about our partnership here. So just in a matter of seconds, the borrower can go ahead and jump into this process. It's going to instruct them of what to do here. It's going to tell them to go through this process. It's going to go ahead and tell them where to enter in the information, and so they can go ahead and type in what they have. It's going to ask them a couple of questions in here as we go. As they do this, it's going to be really, again, seamless for them. They're just going to enter in a few pieces of information that they already have in this process. They can even do this on a mobile device, and it's going to let them know that we're going to send this back to the lender, and we're going to make sure that this gets verified. So they have peace of mind to say, hey, I'm going to make sure that using this solution, this online tool, that everything's going to be taken care of. I have that peace of mind just like I was doing it in the office with the lender right there. So once we get that done, in the background, what happens, we're taking that all in our simple portal. We're passing all that information over to FundingShield. They're capturing that information. They're going to make a decision off of that and let us know whether or not that's the correct information, and we can verify that to the borrower, or if there's something that we need to act on further. And the folks with me here today are going to tell you a little bit more about that. But right here in the system, you can know right ahead, as the borrower sent this in, instantly you're going to have a verification that says, hopefully pass in this instance. But if it's not, it gives you that at the moment it happens. So you're aware, you're able to make the appropriate decision to work with your borrower to make sure this happens ahead of time. So I wanted to highlight this here for you and show you how simple this integration is, and that's the power of what we built together with FundingShield. And again, I'm Steve with CoreLogic. We'd love for you to take a look at our solution together and how we're helping protect borrowers and customers through wire fraud. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve, for providing that overview and kind of delivery and execution. And a couple other questions that we've had as we've been talking through this product specifically with some of the lenders here and our delivery and deployments we're doing with this product is, can I control the communication flow, some of that vernacular? How can I put this in front of my realtor partners, my real estate partners, to help drive more business and kind of make this an extension, an additional service to kind of insert myself earlier on in the process of that home buyer journey. And so those are some of the things to think about. We're happy to solution around those. We have the ability to drop the technology. Our team is here as well today. Kurt, Sam, James are here to kind of talk through all those items at our booths. So please feel free to come by and talk about it. There's a bigger need more than ever today, for us to find elegant ways to help drive better partnerships with our real estate friends and peers in that part of the ecosystem and workflow. So I want to move on to our next partner integration. Our friends from Citus AMC, many of you may use Citus AMC, whether it's in the context of kind of diligence, file reviews, and you might know the AMC side of the business. But Citus AMC is really a culmination of numerous acquisitions kind of strategically brought together and stitched together to deliver end-to-end solutions for both the residential and the commercial real estate market. We're really honored and excited to have two folks here today with us from that organization, including the head of the warehouse lending and technology solutions business, Anthony Bashara, and on the technology solutions and delivery team, Sri Sethuraman. Gentlemen, we'd love to have you join us on stage.
Thanks, Ike. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for asking us to join you here today. Good morning, everybody. Again, thanks for having us and for attending today's session. Really quick, and I'll just talk a little bit about our organization, Citus AMC. It's a Stone Point Capital-owned portfolio company. We focus on various parts of the commercial and residential real estate markets. Very diversified across all the businesses that we run within Citus AMC. Also, very strong from a financial standpoint in terms of we've grown tremendously over the course of the last 5 to 7 years through all of these acquisitions. I joined Citus AMC about 3 years ago from spending 20 plus years on the banking side, primarily in the residential mortgage space. And this business has come together, the warehouse finance and custody solutions business has come together, as Adam mentioned, through a series of acquisitions where we have warehouse lending technology, we have a custodian platform where all the major custodians are on, and we are currently in the process of developing a warehouse management platform geared towards the originators, aggregators within the space. And in 2022, we launched a service business to provide operational services to our clients around our technology. So we've really developed a holistic ecosystem around warehouse financing and also with respect to custodians, and then obviously bringing in the secondary piece. So, to talk a little bit about kind of where we're going, and FundingShield is obviously a key strategic initiative for us in those types of arrangements. The technologies were they were on-prem. Both platforms have been around for 30 years. They've evolved considerably over that 30-year period. And over the last 2 years, considering that we have 70 plus clients across our 2 warehouse lending platforms, we've really focused on how to improve, how to enhance the technology, right? That's the key to our client success as we sort of operate today and as we look ahead. And so the key components are developing and transitioning ProMerit to a SaaS-based, cloud-hosted platform, which we've done successfully over the last 2 years. And we have about 6 clients right now operating on SaaS. We'll probably add another 5 to 6 over the course of the next 12 months. It is something that's an ongoing process for us. The second component is building out API integrations, et cetera, and we were on the API integration panel yesterday talking about that. It really enhances the way that our clients are able to utilize the platform. So, if we talk about some of the benefits, it really allows our clients to focus on operating their business. Whether we're introducing or enhancing functionality or introducing a new integration, it allows our clients to really access and perform the day-to-day functions very seamlessly rather than having to do something more manual. So, the introduction of SaaS, the API integrations, has really enhanced the platform, the product, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the integration that we have with FundingShield.
Thank you, Anthony, and thanks, Adam, and Ike, for the opportunity here. Hello, everyone. My name is Sri Sethuraman. I run technology for the residential products at Citus AMC. I joined Citus AMC in 2021. Just like Anthony, I have 20 plus years background in running technology for a mortgage trading and finance desk, along with other, bespoke, consumer finance products as well. I've been a user of ProMerit. Now I get to run ProMerit technology and build on, the extremely configurable product that ProMerit is. Move to the next slide, please.
The slide's already up.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
It's up.
Yeah, so specifically talking about the, we're here to talk about the wire verification integration with FundingShield through ProMerit. ProMerit is a system of record for many of the warehouse lenders. Lot of thousands of transactions and loans go through ProMerit every single day. And through these transactions, the turnaround times for these are very, very short. And every day there's an opportunity to make it more efficient. From a funding request from a mortgage bank to the actual settlement instructions being passed to a disbursement agent, it's in the order of minutes. Sometimes it's 12 minutes, sometimes it's 20 minutes, but you always want to make it shorter. There are, in addition to just doing settlement instruction verification, there are other checks and control processes that need to happen based on risk and compliance, collateral review, pricing, what that collateral is and how much the lender wants to advance on these things. So with ProMerit, we take incredible pride in our systems being extremely configurable and being able to work with each of the warehouse lender to make sure all of these control processes are automated. And along with that, with this introduction of SaaS, with the API first mentality, we're now able to integrate wire verifications right in ProMerit. So we're able to make a call out to FundingShield, get a wire verification, and we have the ability to customize when we actually made that call, and how do we control once we get the result, whether to stop or whether to let them proceed and things like that. So we're extremely excited about this opportunity. There's also with respect to any of our lenders who want to provide curated digital experience, our API framework is going to let them allow convenience API to if they want to do this check beforehand rather than waiting for that 20-minute, they can now do that as well. With that, I also want to make one point there. The dev team, from our side, enjoyed working with the FundingShield team. Developers to developers, extremely enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that collaboration really was rooted upon the fact that you guys, again, this is another intersection point of kind of IMB handoff to the warehouse lender. So we kind of have to take the mindset of understanding the operating environment of all of those clients, not just one set. And finding a solution that worked for both sides of the fence. And so that's why we think that ProMerit, with the journey they're on, is creating tools and solutions that allow for better engagement with the IMBs, including some of the items and benefits. Maybe, Anthony, you want to share kind of why should the IMBs be excited about this new ProMerit SaaS ecosystem in terms of how they engage with funding requests with our warehouse lenders, as an example.
Yeah. That's right, Adam. I mean, when you think about, as you're operating a mortgage warehouse franchise, you're financing residential mortgage loans, commercial mortgage loans across various types of counterparties. And so when credit risk teams, when they look at that business, there is a heightened concern around fraud and other potential risks. And they're really kind of looking at all of these things. They're putting it under a microscope. And if you're operating that business, they want to make sure that you have the appropriate controls in place. And so again, this is one of the reasons why we think this is such a key element to the ProMerit platform. And again, we have we have tremendous reach across our client base to allow them to have that tool, that capability. The example that Ike and Adam touched on earlier as it relates to FDIC audits. Again, these types of things are coming more and more into focus. What is the IMB doing to protect their business, to protect their clients, et cetera. So again, having this tool integrated real time, it's really important again to the success of their business. The last point that I'd like to make is what we've seen over the last kind of 6 to 12 months in our business as we provide solutions for our clients where we're providing the day-to-day operations is there's a much greater focus on exploring kind of more of the nuanced mortgage-related asset classes. from our warehouse lender clients. So let's just say that like historically, you only financed agency loans. Well, now those clients are stretching and they're reaching into resi transition, seconds, HELOCs, MSRs, et cetera. They're expanding their reach of what they do. And when you think about as you start to finance these nuanced clients with all these different counterparties of all different shapes and sizes, it does introduce, some new exposures that potentially that institution, didn't really, encounter or come across or face prior to, the areas that they're expanding into.
Yeah, and that's a good point. What we see is, we work across, and today we invited some of our clients and our friends from, the private lending, business purpose lending industry, non-QM originators. Of course, our friends that do kind of the traditional GSE sort of, Fannie Freddie style conventional loans as well. But the idea is that these issues are pervasive across loan types because they're dealing with fundamental issues in terms of how transactions are conducted, the types of third-party service providers and suppliers that come into the ecosystem. And then the goal here is to leverage our framework of first-party source data verification on bank accounts, on identity, on licensing, on good standing, maintained on a live basis, and making that exposable, verifiable, and leverageable by consumer, by the IMB themselves when they're doing their checks, but now also having the ability for our IMB clients to pass on that verification and validation. They make reps to the warehouse banks, but demonstrating that rep and control can be passed on and verified independently with no change to their operating workflow. So literally, we have APIs now, right, with Citus that we've developed for other banks, but now for Citus' entire ecosystem of warehouse banks, so that, if Suzanne Livingston from RWM mentioned yesterday that they use our services, they can then have their warehouse bank leverage that certification logged event at the time of CTC and close into their validation and reps for the verified wire information at the warehouse bank level. And that can be done automatically behind the scenes with that warehouse bank hitting our system to recertify, as opposed to kind of creating redundant processes like Ike mentioned is what we're trying to shave down on. So this is something that the market's been asking for in different ways. We're excited to be delivering it with our partners at Citus. Also want to call back up our partners from CoreLogic to kind of really provide some final thoughts, Ike.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for the partnership and the integration. We're all here to basically deliver solutions that are tech save, time save, be partners for the bottom line for the industry while preventing the customer. The original customer, let's not forget, was the home buyer. And I guess it starts off with an investment, a lifetime saving that a person starts to look to go buy a house, and it goes on this belt where the journey just gets quite complicated by the time it ends up being an investment again, because it's going to end up being a loan that's going to be serviced, that's going to become a pool, that's going to get a rating, and then it's going to be sold like a mortgage-backed security, and again, someone's going to be investing in that. So to create an investment from the beginning to the end, it's quite important in today's world to ensure that some of these tools that we're talking about deliver a quality asset at the end. Because towards the end, none of these things are done properly in the beginning, in a market like such, they end up costing quite a bit at post-closing, or before it, if the money doesn't even make it there, or reps and warrants were not right. So hopefully that kind of bridges and stitches all the elements of what we're trying to achieve in delivering a service that's a utility and quite important in this time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.